What's up everybody, Ghost Girl 007 here, and today's video is going to be another episode of Haunted Reads. Today's episode of Haunted Reads, we're going to read some more from this book, which is The Haunted History, Real Life Ghost Stories, and Supernatural Events in History. So the cover looks like this, for those of you that didn't see my first Haunted Reads video. Looks like this. And the back looks like this. So if you want to find yourself one of these, you might be able to find one at your local grocery store. Some places online might have it for you to look up and look for. And for confidential reasons, I can tell you which store I got it from, unfortunately. But yes. So without further ado, we're gonna get into it. Above submerging patients in ice-cold baths was one form of treatment used at the asylum. Left inmates were chained to the walls in their cells as a matter of course. So I'm going to read you something from this page. That was from a different page. But I'm going to read you something from this page. Over here. This page. So we're just going to show the asylum where they have people in these baths over here. See right there. It's kind of... She and her husband, Sir Payton, were friends of Waith's. So we're still at the Waith's house. Or the wife's house. From episode 1. She and her husband, Sir Payton, were friends of the wife's and often stayed at the house. During one such visit in 1779, she is said to have gotten into a fight with her husband at a ball being held at the governor's palace. The cause is not definitely known, but the rumors hold that Sir Payton was perhaps not the most loyal of husbands. Whatever the fight was over, it made Lady Anne run back to the Wythe house alone, losing a dress slipper along the way. Once there, she raced up the stairs to the room she was staying in. One legend suggests that Lady Anne took her own life, though historians now believe she died in childbirth. To this day, her uneven footsteps can be heard going up the steps. Sometimes the closet door in her room swings open, and occasionally she even appears to suggest there. To guess there, not suggest. What? Wearing her ball gown, one shoe. Wearing her ball gown and one shoe. On October 12, 1773, the first hospital for the mentally... Okay, this is going to be a different story, so we're going to get into this one. I guess that was just like wrapping up the story from episode 1. So... Okay, so this one is the public hospital for persons of insane and disordered minds. On October 12, 1773, the first hospital for the mentally ill in North America began admitting patients. It had 24 cells, each of which was meant to isolate patients and came equipped with iron rings for restraints built right into the walls. The cutting-edge theory at the time was that mental illness were in fact disease of the brain, which could be treated with bloodletting, cold water plunge baths, scare tactics, and other methods that are now considered ineffective at best and torturous at worst. As the years went on, the hospital changed its name to the Eastern Lunatic Asylum. It was expanded, including the addition of high fences, more buildings, and 2 underground cells, used to isolate frenzied patients. The inmate population grew as well, swelling to 450 in 1885, when a fire burned the original building to the ground, likely killing 2 patients. The Colonial Williamsburg Foundation rebuilt the structure in 1985, and today it is a museum. The combination of true mental illness and the misguided practices of doctors trying to figuratively and literally shock patients out of their conditions amounts to a concentration of physic trauma after associated with hauntings. There have been reports of voices and knocking in the building, and some believe that one doctor who advocated for reforms still wanders the halls looking for his patients. According to the Colonial Ghost Tour Company, an employee working at the museum said tourists complained of sudden gusts of wind sweeping through the walls or the halls. What's even more strange is that sometimes when we arrive in the morning, the bed in the exhibition room looks as if it has been slept in. So this is the picture I showed you before, that we looked at before right here. This is probably the baths that they were shocked in. This, I think, is the building too as well. It might be something. So now the next story is the public Gallows Road. A mere 3 years after Williamsburg was made the capital of the colonial residents founded themselves in need of a jail, or gallows, as it was then commonly spelled. It started off as a modest 2-cell building, but as the colony grew and attracted the learned and the revolutionaries, it also attracted thieves and murderers. The gallows was expanded, but that's not to say it was made roomy. More than half a dozen inmates were chained to cells that were just 10 feet by 10 feet and given nothing but straw to sleep on. The disease spread fast and often, and while the gallows was only a holding place for people, this is what the gallows look like. This is a picture of the gallows. And it says right here, in this corner right here, I'm going to read that. It says the pillory used to publicly imprison and humiliate criminals outside the gallows. So that's what this was. This is basically outside the gallows and stuff like this. This is just another form of torture. People put their hands in things like this, and it was awful. So that's what we have for that. So this next page looks like this. We're gonna read that up there. So here we go. The local haunts. Colonial Williamsburg is known as one of the most haunted locations in the country because of the sheer number of places where ghosts have been sighted and paranormal experiences reported. Ghosts are guests at the O'Reilly House, a colonial home now used as an inn, have found the furniture in the room turned upside down. The Market Square Tavern, once a haunt of Thomas Jefferson's when he was studying at William and Mary, is today frequented by the ghosts of wounded soldiers from the Civil War. The college itself has its own ghosts, including a Revolutionary War soldier. At the Ludwell Paradise House, the sounds of Lucy Ludwell Paradise, an owner of the house before she was committed to a mental asylum, running a bath, are often heard. The Fury Plantation House, as it stands today, was built in 1830 by slave labor. It is said to be haunted by 11 spirits, including the apparition known as the Lady in White, who broke her neck falling down the stairs, the spirit of an enslaved man, and the ghost of a shipwrecked sailor, to name but a few. Other reportedly haunted sites including the ruins of the Ambler House, which burned down 3 times, the James Getty House, both the Roswell and Carter's Grove plantations, Boxwood Inn, Weatherburn's Tavern, and the Governor's Palace. So, the picture I'm about to show you again, we're going to go over those 2 pictures I just showed you. The 2 pictures, there's one picture on the one side that has a car. That one is the Ludwell Paradise House. I'm going to show you it again. This is what the Ludwell House looks like. I don't know if you can see that, but we're going to go with that. That's the Ludwell House, right there. Okay, so now, and the other house beside it that's the Market Square Tavern. So this other picture right here, that's the tavern. That's the Market Square Tavern. So let's get on to more of this. Awaiting trial and not a long-term detention center, many inmates still died from... Okay, so we're still talking about the jail place. I guess I wanted to go off topic a little bit. Awaiting trial and not a long-term detention center, many inmates still died from the squalid and often frigid conditions. The prisoners who passed through the walls of the public gallows were traitors, thieves, pirates, and before the lunatic asylum was opened, the mentally ill. One of the more infamous was Henry Hamilton, sometimes called the hair buyer general, as he was arrested in 1779 for allegedly buying the scalps of settlers from Native American riders. But his crimes pale in comparison to the gang of pirates held at the Gallows in 1718. 15 of Blackbird's crew were brought to the prison after their ship was captured and their captain killed. Most were sentenced to death and likely made to take a cart ride down Capitol Landing Road, better known as Gallows Road. While sitting on their own coffins at the end of the road, they met their fate. Today the gallows and the site of the gallows are heard strange noises at the gallows. Banging and footsteps emanate from empty rooms, and moans and whispers bleed through the walls. The sound of a phantom wagon rolling along has been heard outside the gallows and up to where the gallows once did their nasty business. A guest of the Coke Garrett House, which is on the path the wagon used to roll along, once awoke to wagon wheels and a cracking of a whip, and even heard a voice urging the horses on. But when he looked out the window, nothing was there. So I guess this is showing the pirates. The wording is kind of a little bit off, just a little bit. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Payton Randolph house. This is next in this book. So this is Payton Randolph. This is what he looks like. Payton Randolph. So we're going to read Payton Randolph house. Payton Randolph was the occasional pirate and a revolutionary. Leading up to the American Revolution, he was the Speaker of Virginia's House of Burgesses and presided over the first Continental Congress in 1774. His home in Williamsburg is the picture of a colonial estate and is one of the main gems in the historically preserved town. Despite its illustrious owner and expansive beauty, however, the house is quite famous for its dark side. The Payton Randolph house is actually 3 buildings. Like most houses in Williamsburg, it was not just a home, but also a sort of prison to the enslaved people kept there. Payton's wife, Betty, was rumored to be extraordinarily cruel to the people she enslaved. After the Randolphs left the house, a number of its subsequent residents met tragic deaths. 2 children died from falls, a boy from a tree, and a girl from a second-floor window. A Confederate veteran took ill and died in the house while visiting, and 2 arguing visitors shot and killed each other. The Marquis de Lafayette, I think that's a French name. Okay. They stayed the night in 1824 and is said to have become convinced that the house was haunted, reportedly hearing unsettling voices in the hall and feeling an icy hand grip his shoulder. In the 1960s, the estate was used as a logging house, and numerous guests felt cold touches as if they were lucky, and forceful tugs and pulls if they weren't. Today, people continue to report being clapped or even pushed by invisible hands, sometimes near the top of the stairs. The sounds of children playing, a woman singing, a dinner party in full swing, and glass breaking have been heard by many. Furniture has been known to move of its own accord, and the sight of a figure at a second-story window are common phenomena reported by visitors and even security guards. Of the phantom party, ghost hunter Pat McGinnis, who has been to the house multiple times, says yes, you can always hear it. Every time we've gone to listen, we can hear it. The house's traumatic history is often cited as the cause of the paranormal activity so frequently observed there, but previously owners of one of the buildings have also reported that bodies of Native Americans are buried on the east side of the yard. That area has been turned into a tunnel for the Colonial Parkway, so that assassination can be neither confirmed nor fully denied. Disturbing the burial grounds of Native Americans is, however, something that comes up again and again in countless ghost stories, including those about many of the most haunted places in the country. So this would be, I think, some parts of the foyer of the house right here, or at least a description of it and what it would look like. And there's a little saying here, down here at the corner, right here. I'm going to read that to you. It says, faint orbs, top left, can be made out in the this shot of this parlor room, from which a phantom party is often heard carrying on. Oh yeah. To get really close, let's see if we can get closer. Because you could see these orbs right here. They're kind of faint to see, but I'm pretty sure this is what they're talking about. It's kind of hard to see them. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think. They're pretty faint. But yeah, if you like these kind of videos, just like and subscribe, and I'll be reading to you more from this book and plenty of others. So if you want to see more videos like that, just like and comment in the comments down below, and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, keep up with the spooks, guys.